is so beautiful. I'm going to have green beans soon. Oh no, what is that? That looks like rust. Are you kidding me? The joys of gardening. Have you had days like that? Well, that happened to me recently when I found rust in the beans and mildew in the squash and cucumbers. So I want to show you what I did to combat that. And then I'm going to follow up with an honest review of the products that I've used over the years. And finally, I'm going to show you some statistics about some surprising products that actually work. So come on and garden with me.
All I have needs I have not provided.
It's mid-April here in Central Florida, and as much as I appreciate the overcast days, when you get several in a row, it can cause problems in your bean plants. So there's two products that I always keep on hand, and one is sulfur powder. Sulfur powder is for rust. The other is biofungicide. Biofungicide is for fungus. Rust looks like little brown spots on the leaves, and at first it doesn't look like any big deal, but if you let it go, it will quickly destroy your plant. So if you see little brown rust spots on your plants, give them a very light dusting of sulfur. I am noticing some white spots on my leaves, and it's the very beginning of some fungus, so I want to show you what it looks like. And I will be spraying today because I don't want it to spread not only through my beans, but it will get into my squash and cucumbers as well. It looks like a perfectly healthy plant, but those white spots are the beginning of a fungus infestation. Right here. See down in there? I will be spraying all the beans, all the cucumbers, and all of the squash. So this biofungicide only takes 2 teaspoons per gallon of water, and I went ahead and mixed it up, and I'm ready to spray. You want to put your sprayer on a fine mist and just take your time. You're going to go up underneath some of the leaves as well. I was going to spray the Fort Hook lima beans with the biofungicide, but when I got up close, I noticed that there's some signs of rust here, and look here. So in just a couple of days, that's what it can become. Look, there's even more down in there. So I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle this with sulfur. Just a real light sprinkle. Be sure you get the leaves that are down there that are definitely affected. The rest of it's basically a preventative so that the rest of the leaves don't get infected. And I know some of you might be cringing that I'm doing this with my bare hands, but do you know what kind of medication the doctor will give you when you have a kidney infection or tonsillitis? Yep, they give you sulfur. And yes, your skin will absorb some of this, but it's not a chemical that's going to be harmful to you unless you have an allergy to sulfur. And then by all means, use gloves. And if you're in doubt, use gloves. This is bush blue lake beans. I am going to go ahead and dust them with some sulfur today just because I know they too can be susceptible to rust, and I'm just going to do it as a preventative. So here's an example of some fungus starting on this leaf. Right next to it are very healthy leaves, so you don't want that spreading. Here's an example where it's starting to take over some leaves here. See here? Here's the telltale sign. It starts out as little circles, spots, and then it just starts to spread over the entire plant. Now, sometimes your squash leaves can look like this, and that's just their color. But an easy way to see that is, let's see if I can get this in focus. Scrape it. And if any of that comes off, see there, some of it came off. That's fungus growing on the leaves. So this happened in just a day or two. This is my half bed of cucumbers, and they just did not respond well to the biofungicide. And so yesterday I took a real big plunge and I cut off all the affected leaves, and it does look kind of bare down here, but this morning the vines seem to be doing okay. I have 3 different varieties in the bed, and I wanted to show you that it's a real good idea to keep track of what you've done. And this is a garden grid that I've made up, and there's another style of garden grid that's more on like graph looking paper. So I have that for you for free as a PDF in the description below. You don't have to ask permission, just hit the print icon and it's yours. So according to this, my cucumbers are the garden variety, the national variety, and the Boston variety. See up close here, if you see spots like that, you need to treat your plants right away. And I see a leaf right here. See this? Off it comes. There's no hope for this leaf. And if it gets any worse, it's not doing the plant any good anyway. So the thing you need to be careful about, I'm going to put it right here with this other one I didn't get yesterday. Do not try to compost them. You throw them somewhere where they're going to get burned, or just get rid of them. You don't want to spread that disease to the rest of your garden. There's more, but I just wanted to say thanks for watching. Please hit the like button, subscribe, look for that free PDF in the description below, and I think you'll like my playlist as well. I have quite a few subjects to cover. And it's magically a week later. I'm going to give a review of some of the fungicides I had on hand that I've used in years past, and I'll give you a couple of recipes that you can make that data and statistics say work really well, and I bet you have those items in your cupboard. So the first item is copper fungicide. Now you typically see this in a concentrated liquid form. This bottle is probably 20 years old, and there are some things that have fallen off the safe list for organic growers over the years, and this one they say you can use, but I don't recommend it. And there's a couple of reasons why. First of all, it's very easy to burn your plants with it, so you do have to follow the instructions really carefully. But the thing that I don't like is it has been proven to be harmful to bees. It can also be harmful to the soil life. And I just don't want to disrupt either of those things. If you were a commercial farmer and you use this in your fields, now there's the danger of the runoff getting into the streams and ponds and lakes. So copper fungicide is not a fungicide that I can recommend. The next thing is neem oil, and this fungicide 3-in-1 contains neem oil. Neem oil is approved for organic gardening, but there we've got to caution again. It can be proven, it has been proven to be harmful to bees to a certain extent, and I just don't want to take that risk. So the only time that I will use neem oil is on a non-flowering plant. If there's flowers that the bees are going to be visiting, I don't use neem oil. However, I do use it other places in my organic garden. Neem oil, according to statistics and data, real data, it has a 50-50 chance of doing well for whatever disease you're trying to control. The next one is Serenade. It is Bacillus subtilis. It works, but it too, according to data, has only a 50% rating. So that's not good enough if you ask me. So now, what are the homemade remedies that you can do? And I'm telling you, I researched this, and according to data, not just based on someone's experience, which that's valuable, but according to data, these are one of the best things that you can do to combat downy mildew. And the other one, I forgot the name of it, powdery mildew. I'm not 100% sure which one I have, but they're both treated the same way. So you start out with a quart of water. Now, I'm just going to put a quart of water in the bottom of my sprayer. And then you're going to add a teaspoon of soap. Now, some people don't see anything wrong with using dish soap like Dawn. If you're going to use Dawn, I wouldn't use a teaspoon. I would use a half a teaspoon because it's pretty concentrated. You're going to add a tablespoon of baking soda. And this is just how I store baking soda. And you're going to add 2 to 3 tablespoons of any kind of oil. If you want to use an essential oil or rosemary oil, those work well, but they don't seem to be any different from a common vegetable oil. You shake that up really, really well, and you coat your plants both on top and underneath. Just don't get it into the flowers, because if you coat the pollen on the flowers, then it's not going to work. So that has about a 95% chance of killing your powdery mildew and your downy mildew. And I think that's really, really good. The other homemade recipe is milk. And I thought that was an old wives' tale. But according to statistics and data, it really works. And it's about a 95% effective. So why not use that? The recipe for that is half milk and half water. And you spray your plants the same way. And it doesn't have to be whole milk. This is how I store powdered milk, and it's skim milk. It's the whey part of milk that is actually doing the work. So that has nothing to do with the fat in the milk. So mix up a half a quart, add a half a quart, 2 cups of water. So 2 cups of milk, 2 cups of water will make a quart. And be sure that you spray the top and the bottom the same way. I love that. But now there's a couple of things that is consistent with all the research that I've done and the advice that's given. You have to change it up, and I think that's where I made my mistake with the Boston cucumbers. I did not change it up. I just kept relying on the biofungicide to do its work. And it did seem to do its work for a couple of days, and then, man, it came back with a vengeance. So the fungus builds up a resistance, just like any kind of a virus does. So a little bit, a small percentage, can survive the treatment that you give it, and then that small percentage that's resistant multiplies, and now you've got that problem throughout your vegetables that you're growing. And when you use the same product, well, they're resistant to that product. So that's one piece of advice that has been given. So you might want to alternate between the two recipes that I've given you and also the biofungicide. The other thing that has been consistent is the different methods to keep it at bay. If you follow me, you know that I do not trim my plants back in order for there to be air circulation. And the reason for that is the sun here in Central Florida is just so strong that it's a trade-off. Am I going to have air circulation, or am I going to scald my fruit with the sunshine? So in both squash and tomatoes, I just have to make a judgment call. Is it getting too bushy? I'll trim some of it back. So far, I don't see the need to trim back my squash plants. They are beautiful, they're lush, they are responding to the treatments that I've given it, and I'm going to go ahead and just leave them alone. So again, thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe, and don't forget to visit my Etsy shop. Thank you so much, and may your garden be a true blessing from the Lord. Just a reminder, don't forget to download your free garden grids.